Tell us about Sing Your Song. This is a documentary about Harry Belafonte, but not only a portrait of an artist, but a turbulent part of American history.
Yeah, about 7 years ago, I asked my father if he would embark on this journey to document his life, because my daughter was turning 7 and my brother was about to have his first child, and I thought that they would never have the opportunity to really have the intimacy with him that both my brother and I have had.
Be sort of a time capsule of
Yeah.
also, yeah.
And I also had a lot of questions about what he was doing during the civil rights movement, because I too am an activist and have been movement building, and I found a lot of difficulty around organizing and strategy. And so the more questions I started to ask, the more I realized, wow, there's a lot to put down on tape here. And sort of subsequently, he was beginning to lose many of his friends. One in particular is Marlon Brando, who passed away, and no one really knows the kind of commitment that Marlon Brando had to the Black Power movement and to many indigenous American Indian movement. And so my father wanted to make sure that in this perspective of his process in our American history, that he was able to also document some of the stories of the people that he walked along with.
How important do you think that your father's sort of discovery of the older traditions of folk music and of not only of the United States but of his own heritage was to his engagement in the movement and his ability to sort of make people listen that would not have had he been just an ordinary entertainer?
Well, first of all, my father always says that he was an activist first and an entertainer second. His mother was a very committed woman to social justice in her own right. She was a migrant worker. She was very, very poor. And there was a lot of interesting conflicts for my father growing up because he was very fair-skinned, and his father sort of abandoned them when they were little. So he really views himself as an activist first. His mother brought him to see like Marcus Garvey speak on the steps in Harlem, and so he was very entrenched in social causes, or I should say more a social awareness,
yeah.
at that time.
Now, it's not an obvious decision to produce a film about your own father. I mean, there could be conflicts, and there could also be sort of, like you said, oh, you're just going to sugarcoat everything, and it's going to be... I mean, did you have those discussions with your father and also with other people during the production that you know, to keep that sort of the right distance to him?
Well, fortunate for me, I had been working with my father for about 15 years prior to making this film as his acting coach, strangely enough. And so we had this relationship already where there was a business sort of acumen.
Where you would call him Harry.
I would call him Harry. I still do. I call him Harry often. There were times in the edit of the film where I said, you know, we really need to see more of your emotional side. And you know, there's a moment in the film where he speaks about the death of Martin Luther King, and that he really never had the opportunity to grieve, and he still hasn't, by the way. And Martin was one of his best friends, and for a long time, the way in which he spoke about it was not what was in the film in the final edit. So that now at least you get a moment where you see that he was really just caught off guard in this moment, and that really, I think, brings the audience through an experiential journey as opposed to just a factual.
Definitely looking forward to that. Thank you so much for taking your time, being
My
with
pleasure.
us.
Thank you for having me.
Good luck with your film, and say hello to your father from us.
I will.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gothenburg. Thank you.